What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Names Are Not Important. I am Mac, and he is free. Good day to you, sir.
What's going on? Happy New Year, my brother. It is good to be back on the set with you, my brother. What's up, Mac?
And still on season 3. So for all 15 of our audience, we had to take a sabbatical, unfortunately, due to personal reasons. We'll keep it there, and that's as deep as we'll get. But we only got to shoot episodes 1 and 2 of season 3, so we're still in season 3. So this is episode 3, just to clear that up. And
I'm just glad you kept up with that. I'm glad you kept up with that. And to those viewers, man, the good book says where 2 or 3 are gathered, I am present. So that means we doing it. We're doing it in the right spirit. You know what I mean?
We are. And let's move on to another preacher, which is that of Deion Sanders.
We gonna jump right into it. Okay, let's go. Right, I've been waiting on this, Mac. I've been waiting on this.
Because, Deion, he showed up and he became Creflo Dollar. And he showed.
I'm gonna stay away from those right now. I'm gonna stay away from those.
He moved on to greater pastures. I'll be honest with you. Like he went from the, our community that they don't like what Deion did, and that's why we're talking about that today, because we want to open up a little bit about how he did it, why people were so upset, and the benefits of him doing it, because we've had this conversation, and there's a silver lining of what he did. But essentially what he did was he came in, told everybody, hey, look, I'm gonna take over this small church. We're gonna have a great community here. And he ran for that mega church as soon as it came running. That's the way people view it. I'm gonna put it that way. It's not the way I view it, but it is the way that people view what he did. So now he's at Colorado State. I see a big blessing.
No, Colorado. Don't say Colorado State.
I'm sorry, Colorado.
We don't want to do the Buffs like that. Colorado.
Colorado. So he went on to Colorado, and he's becoming fifth coach there. So before I lend it to you, Freed, just to tease in where I'm leaning on this thing is, Deion Sanders was the 21st black head coach at Jackson State. He's the first black head coach at Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
There are some positives to that, and Colorado is in a Power 5 conference. So how did it strike you when Deion left? And how'd you feel about how other people felt about him leaving?
Well, I'm gonna have to be honest. I feel both sides of the story, but I'm gonna say this: the move itself didn't surprise me, just because of who Deion is. Prime time, man. Right. This man is built for major markets, a major stage. He's always presented himself like that. So I kind of figured, hey, this was his way in, and when the opportunity came, he was going to take it. Even he said that in his 60 Minutes interview, which let me know, oh, okay, all right. I think where the problem comes in, and where I agree with most who are on the side of how could he, I think is more so that of how he sold the dream. He came in, I was called by God, collect. I had to accept the charges. I'm going here to do this major thing. But then he only really stayed, I would say, 2 years, because we know that 1 year was kind of a put together season because of the pandemic. But he did there and was starting great things, and we started to see some trends start to change amongst HBCU athletics, the view of athletics, HBCUs. And I think he stopped in the midst of getting that train moving. And I think that's what upset people. And then it kind of also, as I pass it back to you, Mac, it kind of also looks like, hey, man, you just use this because you didn't want to pay a certain amount of dues, going through the ranks, position coach, coordinator, blah, blah, blah. I would throw that in. So I see why people are mad, but I understand, we have to understand in college athletics, higher education, people move around because they're looking for the best opportunities they feel for themselves, and to keep their, I guess, brand, if we want to say, keep it moving. So, and I can wait more, but I'm gonna pass it back to you, Mac. Go ahead, brother.
I think that's telling. A lot of people move from job to job for that same reason. So it's not like when we put it in the construct of a celebrity, so to speak. There's an immediate assumption that because they are a celebrity and because they make X amount of money, then they're all right where they are, so they should kind of stand put. That's not necessarily true, nor is it fair. So I'm gonna take, even though I feel exactly where you're coming from, and I agree with that, because my first initial reaction to Dion was, well, you sold this group of people a bill of goods. Why don't you just stay? Like, why would you leave if God called you, and so on and so forth? And then I had to give myself the speech that I gave myself a long time ago when it came to me in a different personal matter, which was, it's not all on Dion. It's not just up to him. It's up to everybody. It has to be a collective effort. We can't look for the savior to come in and save us in this particular situation. And then I started looking up other NFL players who coach. And you got Eddie George. You got Ed Reed just became the head coach of Bethune-Cookman. And then you start really dabbling into, well, what did Dion do? Because again, he didn't break the wheel. He didn't recreate the wheel here. He wasn't the first former NFL player to go be a head coach at an HBCU. He's not the first black head coach to go coach an HBCU. So what did he do? He brought something that a lot of coaches don't have in those ranks, and that was cachet. And of course, it was because he's Dion. All the other coaches don't have a song called "Must Be the Money."
I knew you was gonna go there. Hold on. I knew you were gonna go there. Must be the money. Must be the money. No, go ahead.
But every head coach ain't got they don't have a music video. So Dion brought that cachet. That doesn't mean that other coaches can't bring that same thing. We don't always have to be serious about everything. And his impact is incredible. And thank you, McKee, for citing this note for us. Credited $30 million impact, which impacted Jackson State. So he brought $30 million to the program just with his cachet. His cachet alone. So I think collectively, what okay. He also brought in, we're getting back to this again. We keep giving all the details and the notes. He also had a huge impact his first year, which helped the bottom line of the city. So I think what gets lost in the conversation is not necessarily what he said, but what he did. And like we were talking about the other day in the pre-production meeting, he didn't complete what he said he was going to do, which I believe is true. But he thinks he does. And that's the reason why he's leaving. Because he believes he completed what he was supposed to complete. Now, whether anybody agrees with it or not, it's kind of on you as a person individually. But Dion, in his mind, did exactly what he said he was going to do. So the contract he has is still pending approval. It's not $5 million. We know he's gonna get the money.
Let's be clear before we go into that contract, because Colorado even said they right now don't have all the means or the money to meet the contract. So they're kind of banking on what's going to follow prime time there. The media coverage, the endorsements, the revenue, sales, to go up. So they're still banking on this. So, you know, so let's even look at that. Like Prime, you didn't even go strictly for some guarantee. Now we know with these big 5 schools, revenue's not going to be hard. We know because Prime believes in himself that he's going to bring the attention that, like, I don't doubt that they'll get there, but you know, you left for a position that, let's say, technically wasn't even guaranteed yet. So how does that look in the eyes of those who supported Jackson State or believe in what he's doing? It just makes it look more like you went because the ice is colder over there with the man, as David Waynes would say. But I don't want to get into that right now. But it does look like, to the point before, and I'm gonna let you finish. Like, hey man, you utilized this because you knew they needed you. Now let's be honest. Both parties needed each other. So each one of them did a great service for the other. But it looks more like maybe Deion benefits in the long run going forward, because the worry is now that will HBCU athletics and schools fall back into, I don't want to say obscurity, but out of the foremost attention of the public, all right? Because the emphasis was being placed in the midst of the movement. You got the NBA that's been doing some things with HBCUs and stuff, but will we kind of fall back kind of like as the off-ramp, instead of being the destination now? I like that. I'm going to let you patent that, but go ahead. I'm going to let you.
No, I just, look, I know everybody feels like he gave a bill of goods, but there's a lot of black head coach representation on the HBCU circuit. There's not a lot of black head coach representation on the Power 5 circuit. We have to find the silver lining somewhere. Like what I don't like about the judgment is how we find pessimistic views in everything. And there has to be some optimism somewhere. And for me, the optimism is, well, you may not like what he did for Jackson State or the length of time for which he did it, which in essence is kind of slap in the face, because what it means is you don't appreciate what he did at Jackson State. Like let's admit it, he had an impact, period. Like whether or not you wanted to see it fall through, and you and I have been having this debate for years. I think the biggest impact to HBCUs are going to be the NIL.